We have been at this for a long time.
Yes.
We're the olds now.
I think we're going on like 19 years together.
I'm old. I am dying.
And I got to tell you, short of, and I don't remember every little bit of poppin' sports radio weeks, like the news and stuff.
Sure.
But I do remember the ones that stand out because they're unique.
Yeah.
There was one magical summer where usually summer there's nothing going on.
I know I guarantee I know where you're going with this.
Dude, it was Mike Vick dogfighting followed by Tim Donaghy's sports betting scandal.
They're like, there's nothing that can knock this off the front page. And Tim Donaghy's like, hold my beer.
What a magical sports radio summer.
Yes.
Now, that was, I don't even know what year that was. Who knows what
That was
year?
a long time ago.
This week has been the most bananas sports radio week I can remember since that.
Yes.
It's just...
Yeah.
It's insane.
It's crazy.
And then you add the local angles of the, DeBoer and Lanning and.
Well, it was on Wednesday, right? We finished the show, and I went to a Broadway show over at the Keller. So like we sign off, and at intermission, they have the intermission. You got like 25 minutes, or whatever. So I'm sitting in my chair, and I pull out my phone, and I pull up, and there's like the report from like the K-Valve in Eugene that Lanning's in Tuscaloosa, and like SI's picking up on it, and then so like I'm like, what the hell? My lady's sitting there next to me. She's like, what's going on? I'm like, you may be losing your coach, and so then I put my phone away. Obviously, and then when I reopen it again, now the world is like, well, that didn't happen. That's a crock of what. And then, of course, the next day comes out, and now Washington is like on the hot seat, that DeBoer is the guy. Because all my Washington fans are like blowing up the timeline, laughing at Oregon fan that they, the little stepping stone your third coach leaving. And then 24 hours later, they're like, oh no, it's happening to us. You went from a national championship to this. Now DeBoer is like the most hated man in Seattle history.
Yeah, I don't really understand that. Can you explain that to me?
Well,
just because he left?
Well, the what you're hearing now is F you came here, you didn't recruit for 2 years, you hit the perfect storm with players that weren't yours and Michael Penix, and you couldn't recruit, you knew what was going to happen, and so then you just bailed on us and left us worse than when you got here, which is a total pile of crap. But again, this is the spurn lover thing. Like anytime you get broken up with, immediately it turns into, you're a dumb bitch, I hate you, you're the worst human being on the planet, and I should have never met you. Whereas 6 days ago, you were the second coming of Jesus, and you were the
I just feel like, okay, well, first of all, it wasn't just, you're right. The 48-hour Washington Duck fan roller coaster was a blast to watch from the ground.
The Spider-Man meme, just a lot of finger pointing.
So fun, because those two fan bases they're both, I mean,
insane.
They're insane.
Yes.
Well, anyway, then you add in that Belichick left and Saban left. Yeah. And by the way, I'd like to talk about some damn playoff games, but I can't.
Good luck.
The Blazers lose by 62. Oh, wait, no one cares about that.
Someone should care about 62.
I know, but that's like...
It was
headline
118 to 57.
That's like headline number 18. No one cares. But I don't know. I think that's kind of stupid. I follow Jason Puckett. I don't know if I follow Softy, but somehow he often ends up in my timelines. Oh, no, because it's the fan Twitter account, and they follow Softy. So I've seen a lot of his stuff today. Those KJR guys in Seattle are crying like such babies about DeBoer leaving. And look, I get it. You're upset. I would be too. It's just, I don't, why would you blame him? Like, this is coaching.
Yeah.
Why do you think you're any different? It's like,
you're not.
It's the Alabama job. Yeah. It's like, I don't know how many jobs could have come open that could have got DeBoer. Washington tried to pay him. I mean, it sounds like they're saying like $9 million a year or something.
Coming up with
they stepped up.
They tried.
But how many jobs is Kalen DeBoer after going to the national championship game? How many jobs is he really going? Okay. 10. You think 10? See, I think fewer.
Nah.
But Alabama's certainly one of them, and it just happened to open. It's bad timing. It's not his fault. He seems like a good dude. And by the way, he never lied.
No.
He never said boo.
Nope.
He's not that coach that came out and said, well, I'm staying, and then the next day he's leaving.
He gave he didn't quite go Jim Harbaugh, but we talked about this. Remember when Lanning came out and planted the flag after the A&M stuff? DeBoer was asked like the very next day, and DeBoer's was very much, I want to be here. We're trying to get something done. He was not he was not planting the flag like
no, he never did. And I think you should give him credit for that. He's being as honest as he can be.
Yes.
Much like Jonathan Smith.
But I also think one of the reasons why
So why are you so butthurt? It's just you're butthurt because Oregon kept their coach.
Yes.
And you didn't.
Yeah.
And that makes Oregon look better than you because it was the same job.
Yes.
And you think you're on an even playing field. And yes, you have the bragging rights from the wins on the field.
Yeah.
But I think the worst part about this for Washington fan and maybe why they're so whiny about it is that Oregon kept Lanning. They're going to have Lanning a long time. Lanning seems to be building something much better than what DeBoer was building at Washington, even though DeBoer beat Lanning, and they're pissed off about it.
I just think
That's it.
that and like half the team leaving, that hurts too. Like
they were going to have to rebuild no matter what DeBoer stayed.
But the fact that you already have the guys that were leaving already with the transfer portal where now you think you're going to get gutted, and we're seeing some of that already, and the fact that recruits it was not a great job of recruiting. And the idea was that we don't have to worry about that because DeBoer he finds his guys, right? And so when you're not doing a great job of recruiting raw talent and the whole thing is don't worry about it, I know how to win with these guys, and then you remove that component, what you're left with is, oh my God, we're moving to the Big Ten and we don't have a lot of talent. And so that's the panic.
Well,
and look, anytime someone has a criticism of you, I was just having this conversation with someone. When someone criticizes you in a way that is not accurate, right? Someone says, man, you are a selfish son of a bitch. And you know deep down you are not selfish. You're a very generous, very loving person. It just rolls off your back. You're like, whatever. But if someone's like, dude, you are a selfish son of a bitch, and deep down you think you are, that's the guy that gets sensitive. That's the guy that's like, what the hell? Don't you dare call me. Hey, you have anger issues. I don't have anger issues. I will stick my thumb through your eye. You're like, oh, geez, Ike Turner. And I think what happened with Washington here is there was a fear from Washington that this was a once in a generational type thing, a perfect storm, that it wasn't going to be able to be duplicated, that there was already some fear, even with DeBoer coming back, going to the Big Ten, that they weren't recruiting that well. There was no Penix. These receivers were going to leave. And oh my God, can we do this? And so now that is being brought up, I think you're seeing that fear become reality, and I think they're very sensitive about it. But don't act like Oregon fan when they got ditched for Florida State and Miami, that they weren't doing the same thing.
Look, I get Washington fans upset today. I get that. At the same time, which is it? You're saying he's not recruiting that well. Well, then okay, is it that big of a loss?
It is.
So he's not recruiting that well, but yet he's the best and he screwed us. That doesn't add up. So you obviously overlooked the fact that he isn't recruiting to the level of Oregon or some other schools. You don't care about that, or else you would be fine. Let's see ya. Bye.
But again, you're missing the point of the belief was Kalen DeBoer has won everywhere he's gone without elite level talent, including at Washington, even though I'd make the argument he had a very talented team. And that's the component, is as long as DeBoer was there, Washington fan felt like it didn't matter that they weren't recruiting the way Oregon was or the way Michigan was or Texas, because they've seen him consistently beat those teams. He was... we always say, like in the NFL, when you get a quarterback, Patrick Mahomes erases a lot of warts. That's why you pay him $50 million, right? DeBoer was their eraser. He was the guy that filled in all those gaps. Well, you removed him, and now you have all the gaps. And now you have even more gaps because he's taking players with him, and guys are bailing in the portal. And all this talk of guys, Will Rogers going to leave with him and bolt out of there. And if that's the case, then who the hell's our quarterback? And our schedule is a murderer's row. And so I totally understand their panic. I do not think that it had Lanning left Oregon, I do not think it would have left the crater that DeBoer leaving Washington. Look, I think these are two different scenarios.
The panic I get too. I'm not talking about that. I am talking about the hate toward DeBoer. That's what I'm talking about. First of all, and I also think it's silly to think you don't have to recruit that well. I mean, that's you talking yourself in circles. Not you. I'm saying Washington fan. Yeah. You're talking yourself in circles that DeBoer is so great that he doesn't. Come on. We all know that college football is mostly about recruiting.
Yeah.
Look, you are mad that DeBoer left. You're mad about the state of the program. I get that. But the vitriol toward DeBoer, I think, is just you're just being a bitch.
Well, that's everything. I mean, sour grapes. It's welcome to the world of college football. Be better.
How about this?
Well, no one's better.
Be better.
Find me the program.
Kansas.
Yeah, because if Bill Self left tomorrow
He's
for
not going
North
anywhere.
Carolina,
Come on.
you would, I'm sure, when Roy Williams
We've
left,
already been through that.
no, but when Roy left,
No.
how was Kansas basketball
Hey,
fan?
they gave him a standing O on his way out the door.
You guys weren't bitter at all.
No. Great fan base, man. A real fan base, unlike Washington, apparently.
It's certain. This hurts. I know Oregon fan is just is licking their
my
lips
God.
because Washington for the last 2 years has held their thumb
good.
over you and been like, oh, that's cute.
Well-
nice uniforms, nice recruiting. We have the results on the field, and all of a sudden it's like, holy hell.
Well, here's what you do now, Washington. You make a hammer coaching hire,
Yeah.
and you go out and you talk with your helmet, and
do.
you beat Dan Lanning again.
I will tell you what.
It's not out of the realm of possibility.
If Washington, whoever they hire, Kleiman or some of the names that are flying around out there, I haven't seen what happens with Ryan Grubb. Does he stick around? Is he head coaching material? I've heard from some people that don't think he's polished enough to be on the podium. But you remember Alabama tried to hire Ryan Grubb last year, their offensive coordinator, and UW paid him like a head coach and was like, no, I ain't going anywhere. So does Grubb go with DeBoer? Does he? Who knows?
See, don't you think if Grubb stays, that's good.
That's great.
But
again,
if they're able to keep him.
I don't know. Again, I don't know enough about him. Is he a guy that you can put on the pedestal? And
Is he Jimmy Lake?
There's some people that think that he is not ready for prime time.
Oh.
That he is an OC and not a head coach.
Go get Jed Fish.
That is mine. If I'm UW,
Really?
Will just hit it on that. That's where I back up the Brinks truck. I would no offense to any other coaches that are out there, but you're not getting you're not getting the top 4 or 5 guys in the country. You're not pulling anyone out of an SEC type program to come there. You're just not. And when I look at finding someone that is young, energetic, can recruit, builds an offense, that's my number one thing. I want a guy that can build an offense, right? Lanning's building a defense, but whatever. You find a guy that is a master of the X's and O's. I'll always lean towards offense. Jed Fish took over a program in Arizona that was a GD dumpster fire. He's done a phenomenal job of recruiting. In a very short period of time, he has made them a player in the Pac-12. Players love him. He runs a great offense. They compete hard for him, and he's winning recruiting battles that he shouldn't be winning. And he's at a program in Arizona that's going through a budgetary crisis, the likes of which we haven't seen in a Power 5 program in years. Not an athletic budget, a university budget. Like, Arizona is not in a good spot right now, and they'll always be second fiddle to Arizona basketball down there. You're telling me that $7 million, $8 million doesn't go get Jed Fish out of Arizona? I am on a plane right now down to Tucson, and I'm not leaving until Jed Fish gets on an airplane with me.
Really?
Yeah. And if that's the case, then I think you feel a lot better about it. But it's
What about Whittingham?
Yeah, good luck. He's
Why?
going to retire in a year or two. He ain't leaving Utah.
You're not getting him out of Utah. He won't leave.
I don't think there's a job in America, and I mean this 100%. I do not think there is a job or an amount that will get Kyle Whittingham out of Utah. One, he's very well compensated. He is a guy that money does, like, for all the Lanning, like, money, and it's the grass is always greener on the other side, that sort of thing, or isn't greener. There isn't another coach in the country that is more that way than Kyle Whittingham. I know guys that know him. I know guys that played with him. I've had many interactions with him. He is wired different. He is not leaving, and he's not long for Utah. He will retire a Ute within 2 to 3 years. He's got other stuff he'll want to do.
Here's a name. Nick Rolovich.
Yeah, but why would I get Rolovich when I can go get Jed Fish?
That was a joke.
I think Rolovich is actually
Look at you. You're like, yeah, great. No way.
Why is Rolovich a bad hire?
He's been like ostracized from
Well,
college football.
Yeah, simply because
Nobody even hire him as a coordinator.
I find that to be silly.
Can you imagine if they hired him?
No,
The
but
backlash?
Rolovich will be back around at some point. Rolovich was a really good hire for Washington State. Didn't work out, but the more that the COVID stuff kind of gets in the background and more people are starting to kind of come around to the RFK way of thinking with the vaccines and stuff, Rolovich will be back in a college football program within a couple years.
All right, Kalen DeBoer goes to Alabama. That's what we know. Joey Harrington will join us at 5:30 tonight. We'll talk about Dan Lanning staying and Kalen DeBoer going. We have Rop in the Bank. I just got Bucks picks. A lot of exotics in there. So,
God.
yeah.
I wonder what Art Browse is doing.
Probably. Well,
Wasn't he at Grambling for like a
yeah.
day?
No. Oh, no, that was his son-in-law is a coach. Lebby.
Yeah, Levy.
He's at Mississippi State now, right?
Yes.
Is he the head coach there? Yeah, I don't know. Who cares?
He's not.
Okay.
Not.